Hi, this is Steve, also known as your friendly neighborhood man in Magenta wig, among a few other things, and this is part 2 of my Madonna-thon. Now, if you missed the first episode, I listened to her albums from before her first album, before her official first album. I listened to her live recording as her band Emmy and the Emmys. I listened to the CD Pre-Madonna, aka In the Beginning, her very first demos as a solo artist, and I unfortunately listened to the Otto von Werner stuff. But anyway, that's in the past now because here we are at 1983, the formal start of her recording career. And of course, we're starting at her self-titled album, Madonna. You know, it's kind of a cliche for me to say someone had a strong debut album because I said it in the Weezer series, and I did a Doors series too that I didn't post. It didn't turn out quite right. Might revisit it in the future, but I said the same thing there. They had a really strong debut album. Well, again, really strong debut album. You know, it has 8 songs on it, you know. There aren't that many songs to judge it by, but when you look at the songs that are on this, they're really good songs. You know, Lucky Star, Borderline, we have the finalized version of Burning Up, aka Drowning, from the Emmy and the Emmy days. Holiday, you know, everybody reappears on here because it was first debuted on In the Beginning. Yeah, this is just a really good way to start. Now, is it dated? Yeah, it's dated. It's very 1983, but that doesn't harm it at all. You know, it's a great listen. All the songs are very upbeat, has a lot of energy to it. And while this wasn't her major breakthrough album, that was just a little bit in the future, this was a fantastic start. As a matter of fact, I kind of think of her first 3 like classic 80s albums as sort of a trilogy because they're so similar to each other to my ears. You know, Madonna, Like a Virgin, and True Blue, well, all of which we're covering in this video, so that's very suiting. But yeah, you know, I feel like they go together really well. I feel like she really clicked into one vibe, one style, and stuck with it really strong over these 3 albums. So it is best to cover these in a group here because they are really complementary to each other. So speaking of her breakthrough album, let's move on to number 2 for today. Like a Virgin. Okay, this is going to get controversial here. I might ruffle some feathers with this. I don't like this album very much. I know this was huge, this was the one that launched her to the top, but let me explain. The first album, you know, it was all killer, no filler. You know, it was consistent all the way through, had a great beat to it, had a great, you know, energy, you know, all the songs were pretty decent. Like a Virgin, I feel just, It falls in some regard because, yeah, there are genuine classics on this album. I mean, obviously, the title track, Material Girl, Dress You Up in My Love, and there is some great energy. You know, some of the non-hit songs are pretty damn memorable, like Over and Over, the real fast-paced Over and Over. Angel's a good one. Stay is on here, which, again, debuted on the In the Beginning batch. The problem is, some parts of this album are just plain snores to me. Shooby-Doo isn't, you know, that great of a song. Love Don't Live Here Anymore is a snore to me, and just very dated sounding. You know, when she did that compilation in the 90s, Something to Remember, I think she actually updated that one. Yeah, this is a very divisive album for me. I mean, yeah, it has some very strong parts. You gotta love Material Girl, obviously, but there are some very weak parts too. You know, that's just my opinion. I know people are going to come down on me hard for this, but out of the classic 80s trilogy, Like a Virgin is just not my favorite. I like the first one more. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. It's my opinion. And wrapping up the 80s trilogy for the day, True Blue. Now, I'll be honest, for whatever reason, the first time I bought this CD recently and listened to it through for the first time, it didn't click with me. I'm not sure why I didn't like it. I think it was because I had heard the first 2 albums, and this one just kind of felt like, okay, you know, what else can you do, Madonna? You know, these 3 are all pretty much the same style. And speaking of that, I do want to throw in one more thing. One thing I really do like about Like a Virgin that I noticed, and it's really striking, is, yeah, the instrumentation is very 80s, but there are live drums, and has a really unique sound to it. You know, you hear like synthesizers and stuff that really dates it, but there's real drums. That's very cool to me because a lot of artists around that time relied on the drum machines and she did not. But anyway, back to True Blue, but that is one thing I like about Like a Virgin. So, True Blue. So, you know, I thought, you know, this, I get it, she's still locked in that same kind of style, and after this album, she started moving away from that. The second time, when I re-listened to it for this video, though, I really enjoyed this album. Now, is it my favorite out of the 3 80s trilogy albums? I think I'm still sticking with the first one, but it's so strong, though. I mean, look at how many hits are on here. Out of 9 songs, Papa Don't Preach, Open Your Heart, Live to Tell, True Blue, La Isla Bonita. You know, other than Jimmy Jimmy, which just isn't a good song to me. I've heard it a few times now, it just doesn't click with me. This is upbeat, strong material, you know, this is a consistent album. You know, there's a lot of energy where Like a Virgin tended to slog in parts. There's a lot of energy pumping through this album with Where's the Party, you know, Love Makes the World Go Round. You know, when it does slow down, it slows down for Live to Tell, but that's still a hell of a song, you know. That's a strong, powerful, emotional song, and one of her best songs, you know, hands down. Now, I will say this, I don't really get the appeal of Papa Don't Preach. You know, I know it was a big song in its time, but it's not my favorite song of hers. It doesn't scream hit to me, you know, for some reason. It's not even like I'm not being proved like, oh, it's controversial, you know. No, it's just, musically, it just, eh. But I do love Live to Tell, I love Open Your Heart, you know. La Isla Bonita is not a bad song. So yeah, this album really did start to click with me. I'm glad I gave this a second listen and learned to appreciate it. So that's where we'll leave off for day 2 of the Madonna-thon. Today we covered the 80s trilogy, her fantastic first album, Like a Virgin I threw, so I can't get it right now, but that album, it has its ups and downs, and then True Blue, she finishes strong. On the next episode, Who's That Girl? What else we got? You Can Dance, which is going to be surprising because I've never listened to that CD, and Like a Prayer. So, I am Steve, also known as your friendly neighborhood man in Magenta wig. Thank you for joining me on day 2 of my Madonna-thon, and hopefully I'll be seeing you all soon. Until then, I bid you adieu.